citizens of the Nigelverse. It is Nigel here once again, and this is going to be another movie review. So, we're continuing to look at the awful movies for Awful Month, and this is definitely one of them. We're looking at Fan4stic, or Fantastic Four, or the one that came out in 2015. So right off the bat, of course, I'm not professional movie reviewer or analyst, just a man who enjoys a good time, which was not to be had here, sadly. Yeah, what can I say? This movie really wasn't great. I thought the other two Fantastic Four movies were kind of meh. Rise of the Silver Surfer, I thought it was really not that great, but this one's worse than both of them. And this is my first time actually seeing this movie. For years, I had seen people talking about how bad this movie is, and after seeing it, I kind of have to agree. But the thing is, though, I feel like a movie like this kind of had some potential. There was some potential to be had here, but we'll get into that. So, as always with these reviews, I'm going to be talking about what I like and what I dislike. And usually with these reviews I do for Awful Month, I talk about what I disliked first. So let's get right into that. So what I disliked was quite a bit of the movie. For starters, I feel like the way that the movie was set up, the narrative it was going, and even some of the pace of it, the movie almost feels confused a little bit, almost like it doesn't quite know what it wants to be. And I think it's way too dark, both in narrative and literally, because a lot of the shots are kind of on the dark side. But I feel like it's a movie that takes itself way too seriously and tries too hard to go that dark route. And I think my theory for that is I believe Arrow was out around this time, and so a lot of stuff kind of tried to be like Arrow in a lot of regards. Once CW made Arrow, they then, I feel like, made almost every other show like Arrow, and didn't always work, sadly. And I think this movie kind of tries to go that similar formula, or like the Amazing Spider-Man movies. He's not the Tobey Maguire ones, the Andrew Garfield ones, but sadly it didn't really work here, at least with the original Fantastic Four movie. He's definitely did have some dark subplots and everything, and things like that, but also knew when to be lighthearted and be kind of humorous while trying to mix the narrative and everything. Didn't always pay off for them, but yeah, this one I think tries way too hard to be all dark and moody and things like that. Let me know if this makes any sense, what I'm saying, but yeah, so it suffers as a result of it. The Fantastic Four, obviously the Fantastic Four as characters and everything, obviously have gone through a lot, and they face a lot of challenges, as have a lot of the superheroes and everything in the comics, of course. But this what I'm trying to say, that this movie I think went way too overboard with it. To the point where the narrative was kind of, like I said, kind of confused and kind of muddled a little bit. The movie didn't really know what it wanted to be. He did want to be a superhero movie, did want to be a science fiction movie. Oftentimes superhero movies can be science fiction movies, but yeah, so movie not really sure of its identity. And a lot of the dynamics between the characters are stuff that's been present not just in other Fantastic Four media, but in the comics. But I feel like they only go halfway with it, and they don't explore it as much as they could have. This includes the relationship between Reed Richards and Ben Grimm, aka Mr. Fantastic and the Thing. I might interchange between the two, but at least in terms of their regular name versus their superhero name. And it shows them together, shows them as kids in school and everything. In reality, in the comics, Reed Richards and Ben Grimm met in college after Victor Von Doom got kicked out, but which we'll get to him. But that relationship is established, but they don't go further with it as much as they should have. And then there's Johnny Storm and Sue Storm, which we'll get to, or I believe they have a different last name here. No, they're still called Storm here, but nevertheless, Johnny and Sue, that brother sister relationship, that sibling relationship that they have kind of get started, but they barely, I feel like, go anywhere with it. It's not explored at all, which sucks. Then there's the rivalry between Reed Richards and Victor Von Doom. That's kind of introduced, but almost goes nowhere. Things of that nature. So a lot of stuff introduced, but they don't go further with it. And I think that's what also kind of ruins the narrative, is that you have these characters, but because things are liberties are taken, I should say, which we'll get to some more of those liberties. Because certain liberties are taken, and the characters don't have as much chemistry as they could and or should have. There's some natural natural. I cannot speak today, but what was I gonna say? There's some themes, of course, that would make for some interesting storytelling and some stuff introduced in the comics and even in the other Fantastic Four movies. And I'm gonna be comparing this movie to the other Fantastic Four movies quite a bit, so be prepared for that. But things such as Reed feeling guilty for Ben ending up the way he did, it introduced but not followed up upon, versus the other Fantastic Four movies go a lot further with it, to the point where it becomes a part of Doom, and I'm talking about the original Fantastic Four movie here. Part of Doom changing Ben back, doing what Reed couldn't, but Ben realizing he's better as the Thing. So with that, how that got introduced in the first movie and the original Fantastic Four movie, admittedly could have been done better, but was a lot better than here. This movie, he doesn't really go too in depth with that, and it kind of leaves that on the back burner, which is unfortunate. You have some of the sci-fi elements, of course, such as of course the teleport and everything, and being able to teleport things from one area to another dimension, which we'll get to that later. But otherwise, they try to focus. I feel like they kind of try to focus too much on the scientific stuff of the teleport and stuff like that, but then leave the characters on the back burner. Now, if this was a different movie with different characters, if it's an original movie with original characters, I think it might work a little bit better, or it might pay off a little bit more. But this is supposed to be the Fantastic Four, and we're not really getting some Fantastic Four stuff, and we barely even get any superheroing in this superhero movie. We actually don't really get a whole lot of superhero stuff until close to the end, and with actual combat and action and things like that. It'd be nice if they peppered it throughout, or got to it a little bit quicker, similar to how the original movies did. But here we don't really get any of that, which is unfortunate, because I think that was one of the main things that turned people off from this movie. Is it didn't feel like a superhero movie. It felt like a completely different movie. It didn't feel like a superhero movie, and it definitely didn't feel like a Fantastic Four movie. It felt like a completely different movie. A movie you can't really connect to, and yeah. So if they had worked on that, I think things would have worked out a bit better for this movie. And the other thing is some of the design and things of that nature. We don't really get a Fantastic Four-esque suits. They do kind of look more like science-y suits in some regards, I guess, but otherwise, not really Fantastic Four or suits or superhero type suits, which does suck. And of course, we gotta address the Thing, because the Thing has no clothes on in this movie. Why does he have no clothes on in this movie? Nobody knows. Not even a pair of pants. At least with at least with like the original Fantastic Four movies, they gave him pants and boots. And in the comics, of course, he either has like the pants or he has like the little boy shorts, the little booty shorts. But here he is wearing nothing. He is just letting it all hang out. Why? Whose idea was that? To have the Thing have no clothes on and let his, for lack of a better term, thing hang out. Like why? Like just why? And then there's Doom's design, and I wish that was done better as well. It looks like okay, but it also looks kind of weird. Or it fits kind of what they're going for with Doom absorbing the energy of the alternate dimension that he was stranded in for several years, kind of absorbing that, and it mixed into the suit. But otherwise, it does look a little bit weird. But at least not as weird as like Ben having no clothes on. The other designs are kind of meh, don't really look that great, unfortunately. And then there's the big thing we also have to address as the whole Johnny Sue thing, because this time around Johnny Storm is black, of course played by Michael B. Jordan, and then Sue Storm is his adopted sister. Now, I'm not one of those people who are like 100% firmly against taking liberties when it comes to source material versus the movie. But in this case, it definitely, I think, hurts the dynamic because now there's even less chemistry between them. Although you probably could still build up the chemistry there between the step siblings, or not step siblings, but the adopted siblings. But also because it kind of betrays Sue's character. So, the thing about Sue Storm, aka the Invisible Woman, is that her and Johnny's relationship, with Johnny being the younger brother and Sue, because they lost their parents, having to take care of Johnny, is she becomes like a mother, not just to him, but to the entire Fantastic Four. She's kind of like the mother of the group, in that regards, and they kind of strip that away here, which is unfortunate. And these two barely interact like siblings, or even adopted siblings. Like there's hardly any chemistry between the two, which is unfortunate, because that's one of the major things, one of the major character plot points when it comes to the team, and we're not getting any of that here. So all unfortunate. So the narrative and how the characters are written, and it ultimately betrays. Now, what did I like about the movie? Why do I say the movie had potential? For starters, I would argue that most of the effects, I should say, were actually kind of decent, but then also the actors, I think, did okay. They tried their best to fill their roles. Of course, we have Michael B. Jordan as Human Torch, which is the standout because he would go on to redeem himself later on in Marvel as Mr. Eric Killmonger. But the rest of the actors, I should say, I think did okay in their roles. But the way the characters are written, I think, betrays their performances, and kind of the actors, we look down on them because of the movie as a whole and how it's written. But I think the actors themselves did okay for the most part, or it could have been better, but did okay. And like I said, a lot of the character arcs that are central and important and major when it comes to the Fantastic Four as a team, as a unit, and everything, were introduced, but they weren't really followed through on as well as they could have. So you have the ideas, you have the framework there, but you gotta expand upon it, and you gotta really go in on it, and that's sadly not what happened here, and this movie definitely suffered as a result of it. Apparently this movie was supposed to get a sequel, but because of how poorly it did, both in the box office and by the critics' score, looks like we're obviously not getting that. I'm hoping that the Fantastic Four will do a lot better in the MCU. I'm hoping so. But so that's gonna do it for this, I guess, kind of trilogy of movies. I've looked at all three Fantastic Four movies, and like I said, for as much criticism or flack that the original movie's gotten, and they did a way better job than they did here, which is unfortunate. But that's going to do it for this review. Thank you all so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed. If I remember, I will likely do like a compilation of all 3 Fantastic Four movies and put them together in reviews and everything. But nevertheless, that's going to do it for this review in particular. Thank you all so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed. If you did, please do me a favor, like, comment, subscribe, share it with your friends, turn on post notifications, every time I upload a video so you can see as soon as it drops. Let me know in the comments below your thoughts on the movie and your thoughts on my analysis of the movie. Did you like this, like the movie? Did you like this, like my analysis of the movie? And so let me know in the comments. Of course, we're continuing with Awful Month, and some of the stuff we're going to be looking at this week and next week are definitely that. But thank you all so much for watching, and I will see you guys later. Peace.